Hello everyone, Ben here in the BMW M6 GT3 at Spa for another 15-minute ranked race in RaceRoom. Before we get going, remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a race in the future. So we're now underway. We've made a reasonable start. We are losing a spot or two down our inside, it seems. We had a good qualifying up in 5th place, but really we're just trying to stay safe through what is a very difficult, tight first turn with a very short straight into it off the start. So not uncommon to see accidents down in there. So happy that we got through okay. We're now heading into Eau Rouge and into Radion for the first time again. Just really prioritising trying to stay safe through here, not getting into any unnecessary action. As we see one car spearing off to the right in the background, that's not where you want to be on lap one in this race. So although we've dropped a spot down off our grid slot, not too dissatisfied with that opening set of corners, and we're just tucking in now behind the Porsche to see if we can make some progress through the rest of this lap. So we're at Spa here then, my first time racing this on a ranked server in RaceRoom. It's a circuit I know well from driving many laps in the Formula 1 games as well as other sims, but it's the first time I've done it in a GT3 car. I hopped straight into qualifying, not a lot of practice, and slowly but surely the time was coming towards me, so I'm hopeful that we'll be able to maintain sort of 4th, 5th or 6th finish. The top 3 on this server were miles clear of everybody else, so I don't think we'll be getting close to them unless something dramatic happens further up the road. So we're coming now into sector 3 of the lap, and you can see we're getting held up by the Porsche here. I'm struggling to try and get past him, and that is allowing the Corvette behind us to close in too. Both myself and the Porsche run slightly wide. I'm coming into the right-hander to take my normal line, and we get tagged from behind by the Corvette. The move was never really on then. Much too optimistic from him to stick his nose in at that point, and that has really damaged our chances of maintaining that sort of top 5 position that I was looking for and just talking about. In fact, we're coming under pressure now from 9th place, a guy called Slow Guy, who doesn't look too slow as he was in my rear view mirror there. We've managed to just squeeze him out slightly, and we're going to be now coming hopefully now down into the chicane with a little bit more breathing space, but that at the time really did kind of annoy me a bit, that essentially through no fault of our own we've dropped down another couple of spots on the grid, and now we're going to have to fight to try and get back up there. At least we were able to hold the car out of the barriers, but we're now coming into the first corner and we've gone in too hot. I still haven't really cleared my head from that earlier incident. We've gone deep, and that's allowed the car behind to get alongside us and actually get ahead of us as we come down now down the hill and towards Eau Rouge. We're going to try and stick as close as we can behind him and hopefully get a bit of a slipstream. We actually get half a chance of an overtake at the top of Radion, and my goodness, that was a huge moment, and we could easily have had a massive accident there. Thankfully we managed to hold it together, but you really don't want to be coming alongside a car and making contact at the top of Eau Rouge like that. He locks his brakes into the tight right hander and into the left, so we're looking like we might be able to kind of make this place back. I think I've got better underlying pace than he does, and he looks a little bit ragged around some of these corners. So if he continues to lock brakes and go in deep and not really have a smooth line round, then perhaps we'll get past him on this lap. We're almost pushing him out of the hairpin there, so we've definitely got the pace to get past this guy. He's running slightly wide again as he comes around the corner with no name, and we're now going to come down into Pouhon. He is shaking all over the place on and off the racing line. He runs deep into Pouhon. We're going to try and get alongside on the exit, but I'm not sure we're going to quite have the speed to do that, and we don't. We have to tuck him back behind. We're coming now into the right hander. He looks in deep, locks the brakes again. We come around on the racing line, but he tries to close us off, and we make contact. He spears off to the right hand side into the gravel trap. I really didn't want to make contact there. I tried to slow down as best I could and get down. I think I was in 3rd gear by the end. I didn't expect him to swoop back onto the racing line. There's a chance I probably should have come off the gas a little bit further. So that was an unfortunate one. I think it was probably a racing incident, but I'm open to the fact that others might think I should have done something differently there. We come round onto the very next lap, and the Porsche who we were following on lap 1 has had an incident, has gone off at the hairpin, so we've managed to scoot back past him. So at least we've made another spot up after that opening lap tag that we got from behind, and we're now running just ahead of him, although he's come back on the track and again is immediately looking pretty feisty. We've ran wide, and this part of the race was really quite scruffy for us. I just couldn't find a rhythm. Both of those two incidents had kind of upset my feel for the car, and I wasn't feeling that comfortable, certainly not as comfortable as I'd felt in qualifying. And so we're now coming around to the end of the lap of the third sector, and I know he's going to be getting into my slipstream as we come around the right hand and into the long, essentially back straight, although there are slight turns in it, but it's pretty well flat from here right the way to the chicane at the end of the lap. We've got a decent gap back to him. So I'm now hoping that we'll be able to come through this set of corners, get our braking point nicely spotted for the chicane, get into the corner, and hopefully be able to hold this gap to the Porsche behind us. But we actually go in too hot, too deep. I'm now out of sorts on my line coming around onto the main straight, and that's cost us so much time, and we've ran wide. And across those incidents and the occasional off track, I've actually already racked up 15 incident points, so I'm halfway to being in real trouble. We come now into the first corner. We managed to hold him just behind us here, close him off trying to go around the outside, but we're essentially side by side. All we know, he's tucked back in, he's thought better of that, doesn't want to go side by side through Eau Rouge, and I'm pretty relieved about that, but he's going to tuck in right underneath our rear wing as we go up the hill and around to the left hand side. I just about hold it together, but he's going to get a better run out of the corner than we do, and he's going to be closing in fast here up the Camel Straight. He's going to come now to the inside. We don't look to block that off on the defensive line. I'm going to try and hang this round with him. I don't really want to get too pinched on the apex, but he actually bullies us off the track. We're forced to the left hand side, and we picked up some more incident points. We just about avoid getting speared off into the barrier ourselves there. He was absolutely not in the mood to give us any room whatsoever. And so really this race, it's had a number of drivers in it that have had their elbows right out, and I think we've sort of been unlucky really in some of those tussles, albeit I know unfortunately we came into contact with another driver and he speared off into the wall. And that was really the last of the action in the race. I was carrying far too many incident points to risk pushing too hard for the remainder of the laps. I settled for 8th spot in the end to bring the car home and not lose any further reputation points than I needed to based on the incidents that had already happened. So slightly disappointing given where we'd qualified, but overall given we were involved in a few skirmishes, just quite relieved to get the car home. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, leave a like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss a race in the future, and I'll see you next time.